Hello there, everyone. I'm Sandy Anastasi, psychic channel, intuitive astrologer, and soul coach. And I'm here with my tarot tip number 12. This tip is about reading the court cards as multiple people in your reading. When I teach my students to read the tarot, I begin with the court cards because most people find those the most difficult cards to read in a spread, even after they've memorized their various meanings. In earlier tarot tips, I've discussed how to read those cards if they're upright versus inverted. I've discussed how to derive their meanings from the quality of the suit and how to interpret them depending where they fall in the reading. That is, if they're in a present position, a past position, or a future position. I even discussed some of the alternative meanings when you are interpreting them as something other than people. Now, in this tip, I'm going to go deeper and we'll get a look at some of the biggest stumbling blocks for many tarot readers. That stumbling block arises from the fact that one court card can actually represent many different people in your client's life. It's also noteworthy that if my client is female, for example, all of the female cards in the reading should first be looked at as an aspect of her. This sounds very complicated, but I can assure you once you get the hang of it, you'll find that it's much easier to read the court cards than you had imagined. Let's look at an example. If in my Celtic Cross reading for my female client, the first card I turn up is an upright Queen of Cups, I rightfully interpret that Queen of Cups as a warm and sensitive woman, and so I see my client as a warm and sensitive woman, because the first way that I read that card is as my female client. But what many readers may miss is that that same card also tells me that my client has another woman on her mind, perhaps a friend or a relative, who is also a warm and sensitive Queen of Cups. So this first card in the Celtic Cross that describes both my client and also what my client has on her mind actually is read, in this case, as two different women. If the second card I put down, which I normally would read as the situation card, if that card is a pentacle, that is a money card, I will correctly interpret that both of these women have material things and finances on their minds. It may even be that my client is involved in some way with the finances of that other woman. If the third card I draw that tells me what's coming over the next 3 months is, for example, a Queen of Swords, I will first read the Queen of Swords as another aspect of my client. This aspect of her, though, is very serious and is thinking, planning, communicating, probably about the material or financial issues that showed up in the second card that described the situation. After I've looked at this new aspect of my client, then I will go back and address the possibility that this new queen is still a third woman that my client will be involved with during this next 3 months, who is someone who is a good communicator and will be helpful to her, as this position is always read right side up. She might even be helpful in handling whatever those financial issues are that my client is thinking about. As the reading progresses, each time another queen turns up, I'm going to first interpret the queen as a new aspect of my client, and then something or someone else that she's involved with. And then I interpret it as someone other than her. Additionally, as I pull other cards, the various situations in my client's life will begin to develop as a story. And as I interrelate the new cards into the story, I can start to see these queens as showing up as more and more different women in my client's life. So you see, only 4 queens in the deck can represent all of the women in my client's life. And likewise, the 4 kings, the 4 knights, and the 4 pages will also represent all of the men, young men, and children in her life. Each time I look at them from a different point of view, looking at the cards surrounding them and telling their story, I will see a different person and a different part of my client's life. It will take a little bit of practice, and you need to open your mind a bit to really be able to do this. But I promise it will take your readings to a whole new level. You're going to love it. It becomes so much fun. And your clients, I can promise you, are really, really going to be impressed, and they will appreciate you tremendously. Again, I'm Sandy Anastasi. Visit me on my website at www.sandyanastasi.com to find out all about my tarot programs, my VIP membership, my psychic hour that I do monthly, and all kinds of other things that you are going to find enormously interesting and helpful. Thanks so much. I'll be back next time with another tip. Bye-bye.